I want to share with you how God answers prayers in ways you don't expect. But before we dive into that, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that God still parts the Red Sea today? Some of you might say, of course not. That was just a one-time event in the Old Testament. But what if I told you that God is still in the business of parting seas and answering prayers in ways that defy the odds? It says that Jesus told a parable at the request of some who had heard him say that he was a friend of sinners. And the parable is this. There were two men who went up into the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee, a religious man who stood and prayed thus, boasting in his heart, "Thank God, I am not like other people, thieves, and murderers, and adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give a tenth of all my income." And the other was a tax collector who stood far off and would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast and said, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." I tell you, this man returned home justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Now, this story teaches us many things, but for the purpose of this message, I want to focus on the attitude of these two men and their prayers. The Pharisee prayed a prayer of pride and self-righteousness, basically saying, "God, I'm better than everybody else. Look at what I do. I'm so good. I'm holier than those sinners over there. I don't associate with them. I'm not like them." But the tax collector prayed a prayer of humility and desperation. He didn't try to impress God with his prayer. He didn't try to outdo others in his prayer. He simply came to God as a lost and sinful person and cried out for mercy. You see, sometimes our prayers can become religious rituals, where we just go through the motions without any real expectation of an answer. We pray because we think we should, because it's the right thing to do, or because we want to look good in front of God. But true prayer comes from the heart, a place of humility and dependence on God. When we come to God in prayer, we must remember that He is the God of the impossible. Nothing is too difficult for Him, and when we humble ourselves before Him, He will exalt us. So, when we come to God in prayer, let's make sure our hearts are right. Let's make sure we're not praying to impress God or to boast in our own righteousness, but coming to Him in humility and faith. Let's remember that God is in the business of answering prayers in ways we don't expect. So don't limit God to your own expectations and small thinking. Instead, open your hearts and minds to the possibilities that only He can bring to pass. The God who parted the Red Sea for Israel is still in the business of parting seas for His people. The God who healed the sick and cast out demons in the days of Jesus is still in the business of healing and delivering His children. The God who spoke through the prophets in the Old Testament is still in the business of speaking to His people today. All we have to do is open our hearts and ears to hear His voice. So my question to you is this: what seemingly impossible situations are you facing today? What mountains do you need God to move? What chains do you need Him to break? I want you to know that nothing is impossible for God. He is waiting for you to bring your requests to Him, no matter how big or small they may seem. He is waiting for you to trust Him and believe that He can and will answer your prayers in ways that you do unexpect. As we close, I want you to walk away with this truth in your heart. God is in the business of answering prayers in ways we don't expect. He is the God of the impossible, and He desires to work in your life in ways that will amaze and astound you. All you have to do is believe. If you enjoyed this message and want to receive more of my daily devotionals, subscribe now. Until next time, God bless you. You in His peace.